Picture this. A man enters the room, his presence understated yet undeniable. He doesn't raise his voice or demand attention, but the way he carries himself, the quiet strength in his demeanor, the calm certainty in his actions, commands respect. Women notice him not because he seeks approval, but because he exudes something rare, a deep sense of self-worth and unwavering integrity. Now imagine the opposite. A man constantly trying to prove his value, chasing recognition, bending over backward to please, only to be met with indifference or worse, contempt. Why does this happen? Why do some men naturally earn respect while others seem to repel it, no matter how hard they try? The answer lies in a truth as old as time. Respect cannot be forced. It must be inspired. And the key to inspiring respect, especially in relationships, is not in flashy displays or shallow gestures. It's in becoming the kind of man whose actions, values, and presence speak louder than any words ever could. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that respect begins not with others, but with oneself. A man who respects his own boundaries, cherishes his principles, and stands firm in his convictions naturally earns the admiration of those around him. Today, we'll uncover 7 timeless strategies rooted in Stoic wisdom. Strategies that will not only help you earn a woman's respect, but also build a relationship on a foundation of strength and authenticity. Let's begin. The foundation of self-respect. Respect from others begins where self-respect resides. A man who lacks a strong sense of his own worth will find it impossible to earn genuine respect from a woman, or anyone else for that matter. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Self-respect, then, is rooted not in what the world gives you, but in the boundaries you set and the principles you uphold. A man who respects himself is clear about what he will and will not tolerate. He does not sacrifice his values for fleeting approval or compromise his dignity to avoid conflict. This clarity is magnetic. Women respect men who live with conviction, who know their boundaries and enforce them without anger or apology. For example, consider a man who works tirelessly to please everyone around him. He says yes to everything, avoids confrontation, and constantly seeks validation. Over time, his efforts to be liked erode his self-worth. He becomes resentful, and that resentment is felt by those closest to him. Contrast this with a man who knows when to say no, and does so firmly, yet kindly. He prioritizes his principles over convenience. This is not arrogance, it's self-mastery. Such a man signals that he values his time, energy, and emotions. Women naturally gravitate toward men who have this inner strength because it creates a sense of stability and trust. Building self-respect begins with small but consistent actions. Keep your word, even when it's inconvenient. Honor your commitments, especially those you make to yourself. If you decide to wake up early and exercise, follow through. Not because someone is watching, but because it reinforces your discipline. Each time you uphold a promise to yourself, you strengthen your inner foundation. Self-respect is also about emotional resilience. A man who lets his emotions dictate his actions appears unpredictable and weak. The Stoics believed that controlling one's reactions is a hallmark of true strength. Epictetus advised, "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them." When a man takes responsibility for how he interprets and responds to challenges, he becomes unshakable. Women respect men who can face life's difficulties without losing their center. Imagine a situation where a couple faces financial stress. A man who panics or lashes out creates chaos, while a man who calmly assesses the situation and takes action instills confidence. This calm self-assurance, born from self-respect, becomes the bedrock of a relationship. Earning respect starts with how you see yourself. Are you living in alignment with your values? Are you holding yourself accountable? Self-respect is not about perfection. It's about integrity. When you embody this, respect from others, including the women in your life, becomes a natural consequence. The power of silence and action. In a world overflowing with noise, the man who speaks less and acts more commands attention. Words can be powerful, but when used carelessly or excessively, they lose their weight. The Stoics understood this well, emphasizing the value of restraint and purposeful action. Epictetus once said, "If you want to be a writer, write. In other words, don't talk about what you'll do it." This principle applies not just to personal ambition, but to relationships as well. Women are drawn to men who don't need to announce their worth or prove themselves with grandiose claims. A man who focuses on quiet, consistent action rather than constant explanations or excuses creates an aura of reliability and strength. Consider this. A man who frequently promises change but fails to deliver comes across as untrustworthy, while a man who quietly commits and follows through, whether it's in small gestures or significant decisions, demonstrates his integrity. Without saying a word, silence is not just about withholding speech, it's about mastering the art of presence. When a man listens more than he speaks, he signals that he values what others have to say. This is especially powerful in relationships. A woman feels respected when she's heard, truly heard, without interruption or judgment. This simple act builds trust and deepens the connection between two people. Furthermore, silence allows a man to reflect before reacting. Too often, relationships are derailed by impulsive words said in the heat of the moment. The Stoics taught the importance of controlling one's tongue. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Let silence be your goal for the most part. Say only what is necessary and in a few words." A man who practices this discipline avoids unnecessary conflict and exudes an air of calm authority. Action, on the other hand, speaks volumes. A man who actively solves problems rather than merely discussing them sets himself apart. Imagine a couple dealing with a household issue. One partner complains endlessly about the problem, while the other quietly takes steps to resolve it. The latter earns respect not through words, but through effective action. This principle applies to all areas of life: career, family, and relationships. Women respect men who demonstrate strength through action and restraint through silence. These qualities create a sense of stability and confidence, showing that the man can handle challenges without losing focus. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions or avoiding important conversations. It means knowing when words are needed and when actions alone will suffice. As you embrace the power of silence and action, you'll notice a shift, not just in how women perceive you, but in how you perceive yourself. Your words will carry more weight, and your actions will become a reflection of the values you hold dear. Over time, this balance of quiet strength and decisive action will make you a man who inspires respect effortlessly. The art of listening and understanding. In a world where everyone seems eager to speak, few possess the rare and valuable skill of truly listening. Yet this ability is one of the most profound ways a man can earn a woman's respect. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding emotions, intentions, and unspoken truths. The Stoics, though often portrayed as emotionally detached, emphasize the importance of empathy and connection. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." A man who listens deeply demonstrates emotional intelligence, a trait that women value immensely. When a woman shares her thoughts, she's not always seeking a solution. Often, she simply wants to feel heard and understood. A man who can give her his full attention without distraction or interruption shows that he values her perspective. This simple act of presence can foster trust and admiration in ways that grand gestures cannot. True listening requires patience and humility. Many men fall into the trap of listening to respond rather than to understand. They rush to offer advice or interject with their own stories, unintentionally dismissing the other person's feelings. A Stoic man, however, approaches conversations with curiosity and openness. He resists the urge to dominate the dialogue and instead creates space for the other person to express themselves fully. Listening also involves picking up on subtle cues, the tone of voice, body language, or the emotions underlying the words. This attentiveness signals emotional maturity and a willingness to connect on a deeper level. Imagine a scenario where a woman feels overwhelmed by stress. A man who brushes off her concerns or offers shallow reassurances will seem distant or dismissive. But a man who listens, asks thoughtful questions, and validates her feelings will stand out as someone she can trust and respect. Understanding goes hand in hand with listening. To truly understand someone, a man must set aside his own biases and judgments. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It means seeking to comprehend her perspective, even when it differs from his own. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I'm about to criticize?" This mindset fosters compassion and prevents unnecessary conflict. When a man listens and seeks to understand, he also gains insight into how he can better support and uplift his partner. Respect grows naturally when a woman feels that her needs and feelings are genuinely important to the man she's with. This kind of emotional connection strengthens the foundation of any relationship. A man who masters the art of listening and understanding becomes a rarity in a society that often prioritizes self-interest. He exudes confidence, not through dominance or control, but through his ability to create a space where others feel valued. For a woman, this quality is irresistible, inspiring a level of respect that goes beyond surface admiration. The art of listening is a discipline, much like any other skill. It requires practice, patience, and a willingness to learn. But for the man who commits to this practice, the rewards in respect, connection, and inner growth are immeasurable. Living with purpose. There is something undeniably compelling about a man who knows where he's going in life. He doesn't drift aimlessly, reacting to circumstances, but instead moves forward with clarity and determination. A man with purpose inspires respect because he embodies a sense of direction, a quality that many find reassuring and magnetic. The Stoics often emphasize the importance of aligning one's actions with a greater sense of meaning. Seneca wrote, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Purpose is not merely about career success or financial ambition. It's about living in alignment with values and striving toward meaningful goals. A man who understands what matters to him, be it personal growth, family, or contributing to something greater than himself, radiates an inner strength that draws others in. For a woman, this sense of purpose in a man signals stability and vision, two qualities that naturally inspire respect. Consider a man who drifts through life without goals, constantly changing course or relying on others to guide him. Over time, this lack of direction erodes respect. His indecision and passivity create uncertainty, making it difficult for others, including his partner, to trust in his ability to lead or provide support. Contrast this with a man who sets clear goals and pursues them with steady determination. Even when he encounters setbacks, his commitment to his path remains unshaken. This consistency fosters confidence and admiration. Purpose also brings focus. A man with a clear sense of direction doesn't waste time on distractions or trivial pursuits. He prioritizes what matters most and makes decisions that align with his goals. This focus not only strengthens his character, but also signals that he values his time and energy. Women respect men who demonstrate this kind of discipline because it shows they are in control of their lives. Living with purpose doesn't mean having all the answers. It means being willing to ask the right questions and take meaningful action. What drives you? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? These are the questions that shape a purposeful life. The Stoics believed that purpose was not just about grand achievements, but about living each day with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Stop debating what a good man should be. Be one." For a woman, seeing a man passionately pursue his purpose is deeply inspiring. It shows her that he is not easily swayed by temporary distractions or external pressures. His life is guided by his inner compass, not by the expectations of others. This kind of man creates a relationship dynamic built on mutual respect and admiration. Purpose also brings balance to a man's life. While his goals may drive him forward, he doesn't neglect the people or values that matter most. He understands that true success is not achieved in isolation, but through meaningful connections and contributions. This balance between ambition and groundedness makes him a partner who can inspire and uplift those around him. A man who lives with purpose becomes a leader, not through dominance, but through his example. His actions speak louder than his words, and his life becomes a testament to his values. For a woman, this is a man worth respecting, not because he demands it, but because he has earned it. The ability to remain calm. In moments of stress or crisis, some people crumble, while others stand tall, unshaken by the chaos around them. The ability to remain calm under pressure is one of the most respected qualities a man can possess. For women, there is nothing more attractive than a man who can maintain his composure in the face of adversity. It signals emotional strength, maturity, and the ability to lead during turbulent times. The Stoics, masters of emotional resilience, taught that peace of mind is not determined by external circumstances, but by one's internal response. Epictetus famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." A man who can remain calm in difficult situations is perceived as reliable and trustworthy. Think of a time when a crisis arose, perhaps in a relationship or at work. A man who reacts impulsively, raising his voice or becoming overwhelmed, adds fuel to the fire. His lack of control creates a sense of instability, making it harder for others to rely on him. On the other hand, a man who stays composed, assesses the situation with clarity, and takes decisive action is someone others can turn to for support. Remaining calm doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means acknowledging them and choosing not to let them dictate your actions. The Stoic approach to emotions is not about denial, but about mastery. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In practice, this means choosing to focus on the things you can control while letting go of the things you can't. This mindset enables a man to stay centered, regardless of the external storm. In relationships, calmness creates a safe space where both partners can express themselves without fear of judgment or escalation. A woman feels respected when her partner doesn't let his temper or insecurities get the better of him. When conflict arises, a man who remains calm, listens, and seeks resolution rather than confrontation builds trust and emotional safety. It's in these moments that his true strength becomes apparent. Being calm under pressure also demonstrates foresight and wisdom. It shows that a man doesn't react impulsively, but instead takes the time to think through the best course of action. A woman will respect a man who considers all angles before making a decision, especially in high-stakes situations. This ability to remain level-headed and deliberate speaks volumes about his character. The calmness of a man is magnetic. It draws others to him, not because of his control over others, but because of his mastery over himself. Women respect men who can maintain composure, not because it shows strength in a traditional sense, but because it shows emotional maturity and self-control. When a man is calm, he offers a sense of security and certainty, qualities that are invaluable in any relationship. By mastering this art of calmness, a man strengthens not only his own emotional resilience, but also the respect others have for him. It is a quality that, when cultivated, can transform the way he navigates both challenges and relationships. The importance of consistency. Consistency is the backbone of trust and respect in any relationship. While passion may spark attraction, it is consistency that keeps respect alive over time. A man who is dependable, who shows up when he says he will, keeps his promises, and lives in alignment with his words, becomes a rock that others can lean on. Women, in particular, respect men who are reliable, not only in the grand moments, but also in the everyday interactions that build the foundation of a relationship. The Stoics valued consistency because it reflected a life lived with discipline and purpose. Seneca famously said, "A good character is not formed in a week or a month. It is a lifelong task." Consistency, then, is not about being perfect. It's about being steady and true over time. A man who is consistent is predictable in the best way, not because he lacks depth, but because his integrity is unwavering. Imagine a man who speaks highly of his goals, dreams, and values, but time and again fails to act on them. His words become hollow, and his credibility fades. Over time, the people around him, including women, will begin to question his sincerity. In contrast, a man who consistently follows through on his commitments, even when they are small or inconvenient, builds a reputation of trustworthiness. Consistency also extends to emotional stability. A man who is up one day and down the next, whose moods swing unpredictably, creates a sense of instability in those around him. His partner never knows what version of him she will encounter. But a man who's emotionally steady, who maintains a calm demeanor even when things aren't going his way, demonstrates strength and reliability. A woman can trust him to stay grounded in the face of adversity, which is an invaluable trait in a partner. One of the most powerful ways a man can show consistency is through his actions. It's not enough to say he cares. He must demonstrate it consistently through thoughtful gestures and support. A man who makes an effort to check in on his partner, who shows up for her in moments of need, who actively listens and engages, fosters deep respect. The key is not occasional grand gestures, but the small, consistent acts that prove his commitment to the relationship. A man's consistency also helps him build a strong sense of self-discipline. By creating habits and routines that align with his values, he demonstrates his commitment to self-improvement. This consistency in personal growth not only earns respect from others, but it also allows him to show up as his best self in relationships. When a man is consistent, he doesn't just earn respect in the moment. He earns it for the long term. His actions speak louder than any words he could say, creating a foundation of trust that grows stronger with each passing day. A woman knows that with a man like this, she can rely on him no matter what challenges life throws their way. Consistency is about more than just doing the right thing. It's about doing it regularly, without expecting immediate recognition. Over time, this quiet dedication will reveal a man's character, and the respect he earns will be solidified in the hearts of those around him. Embracing vulnerability. It may seem counterintuitive, but one of the most powerful ways a man can earn respect in a relationship is by embracing vulnerability. Stoic philosophy often focuses on strength and resilience, but it also teaches the importance of acknowledging our limitations and accepting our humanity. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, reflected, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This insight reveals that the path to true strength involves confronting what makes us vulnerable, not avoiding it. In relationships, vulnerability is not weakness. It is an expression of trust and authenticity. When a man allows himself to be vulnerable, he shows that he is comfortable with who he is, imperfections and all. This openness creates a sense of intimacy and connection that superficial displays of strength can never achieve. A woman is more likely to respect a man who can admit his fears, acknowledge his mistakes, and express his emotions without shame. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or seeking constant reassurance. Rather, it's about having the courage to show up as your true self. This could mean admitting when you're struggling, sharing your insecurities, or expressing your deeper desires and values. It's about being real, even when it feels uncomfortable. A man who can do this without the fear of judgment shows emotional maturity and strength. Consider a man who never allows himself to show weakness, who hides behind a facade of invulnerability. At first, this may seem like strength, but over time it creates a barrier between him and others. He becomes distant, guarded, and harder to truly connect with. Women may admire his apparent strength, but they will respect him more when he allows himself to be seen for who he truly is. Vulnerability also allows a man to grow. When he admits his mistakes or weaknesses, he opens himself up to self-reflection and growth. The Stoics taught that facing our limitations was essential to personal development. Epictetus said, "No, man is free who is not master of himself." By acknowledging his vulnerability, a man takes control of his own growth, becoming more self-aware and emotionally intelligent. A woman respects a man who can be vulnerable because it shows that he values authenticity over appearances. It signals that he is not afraid to be real and that he trusts her enough to share his inner world. This deep emotional connection strengthens the bond between two people, making the relationship more meaningful and secure. The Stoic idea of embracing vulnerability does not mean allowing ourselves to be weak or passive. It means acknowledging our limitations, facing them with courage, and using them as stepping stones for growth. A man who embraces vulnerability will not only earn respect from those around him, but also develop a deeper sense of self-respect. This allows him to form more meaningful relationships based on mutual trust, understanding, and shared strength. As we've explored throughout these 7 strategies, respect in relationships isn't something that can be demanded. It must be earned. Through discipline, patience, and emotional intelligence, a man can cultivate qualities that naturally inspire admiration and trust. From mastering self-control in difficult situations to embracing vulnerability, the Stoic principles offer timeless wisdom for building not just respect, but a deep, lasting connection. A man who acts with integrity, listens attentively, stays calm under pressure, lives with purpose, and remains consistent in his actions will not only earn respect, but also create a relationship dynamic that is rooted in trust and emotional depth. These strategies do not require grand gestures or superficial displays of strength. Rather, they call for consistent, thoughtful actions that reflect the true strength of character. In the end, the greatest respect a man can earn is not through dominating others or hiding behind a mask of invulnerability. It comes from showing up as his authentic self, embracing both his strengths and his weaknesses, and continuously striving to become the best version of himself. When a woman sees a man living by these principles, she cannot help but respect him, not because he demands it, but because he has truly earned it through his actions, his consistency, and his ability to connect on a deep, meaningful level. Respect is built over time, one action at a time. By embodying these Stoic strategies, you not only improve your relationship, but also enrich your own life. The journey toward earning respect is one of continual growth, and in embracing this path, you lay the foundation for a relationship that is rooted in mutual admiration, trust, and deep respect.